I must say I became aware of the problem of the actor by seeing things on the stage that showed me what actors were capable of doing, and also showed me that they were not necessarily capable of doing it at their will whenever they wanted to. Then I saw the Moscow Art Theater in the flesh, not in books. And I saw that there they seemed to have some kind of procedure that made it possible for every actor on the stage to be able to do more or less within limits what he was capable of doing. That convinced me that they had something which it was worth my investigating. Any kind of approach in any artistic area can never be rules. It can be principles. And principles, you must learn how to make use of it. You must learn how to apply. So it always is not following the letter, but what is intended by the procedure, by the principle. I would say that we added a certain clarification of the basic theory. Stanislavski was not a theoretician, fortunately. He was a practical man, and everything that he did came only from his practice, something that I hope to describe on some occasion, because too many people think, well, it comes from sitting around, making up your mind. No, everything that came to him as a result of his own problems, of what he saw about the problems that actors had, about what he saw other actors do, and therefore questioned what helps them to do that and so on. As a result of that, he came to certain conclusions. He then tried those conclusions, as in a way later I did. If they worked, fine. When they didn't work, then either it was wrong or something had to be corrected and so on. Now, in the same way, I tried all the work, and rightly or wrongly, whether it's Stanislavski or not, it works. I think it's Stanislavski in the sense that I would like to give, due, gratitude for the work. That's where I think I got it from. I believe the method is the only basic means for solving what I consider to be the actor's problem. That does not mean that there are then not additional means that may be valuable for some particular function or for some particular results that you wish to achieve. For instance, you are an opera singer. Well, obviously the opera singer must, in addition to his acting training, which I firmly believe in, by the way, and think opera singers should make use of, he also must be able to sing vocally. And that's a very special both gift, talent, and also training in addition to everything else. If you're going to play a part in which you need dialect, by the way, that doesn't mean just Shakespearean, because it's just as difficult to do an Italian dialect or a German dialect or anything like that. You must have some particular skill. There are many actors, are good actors, they cannot do that particular thing. That's additional training, you see. And that training is by no means to be sneezed at, as long as people do not assume that they are solving an acting problem, the basic acting problem. The basic acting problem is how to believe in what he's doing, to believe enough in order to be able to transmit that belief to the public.
Why don't you let us see what they're doing then in the studio? Why don't you open to the public and or at least some to the profession? Nobody knows what's happening.
To the profession, we do open it, yes. There is what we call professional courtesy to the profession. To the public, no. Because in that sense, in line with the statement that I made, that I repeated, Goethe's statement about talent developing in private as against a career developing in public, we believe that the actor must have a place where he can really, as we sometimes express it, fall flat on his face without being considered a failure. To the audience, stardom is the apex that anyone can aspire to. To the star or to the actor, stardom is a necessary part of his career, but not necessarily of the use of his talent. They are driven, motivated by some dream of what they will accomplish, of the use of their talent. And no amount of literal success is equivalent to the satisfaction that they get from the use of their talent. And when in one way or another they feel that, well, now that they're stars, sometimes they're even more troubled because they feel they're doing even less, they don't deserve it. That's why, by the way, there's so much disturbance and suffering, and people say, what the hell have they got to suffer about? My God, give me those contracts. Exactly. They turn down those contracts. I'd like to have that trouble.
Yeah, right.
But the actors do have that trouble, because yes, they do get the contracts and they get the money, but they do not get the satisfaction which they sought when they went into the theater. We are now capable of seeing more than one thing. We do not have to limit ourselves to only one form of seeing, you see. We can appreciate Rembrandt, and we can appreciate Picasso, and we can appreciate, some of the even more modern of today. And you can choose. All of these things have a value. Theater, in one way or another, is a reflection of reality, sometimes of an inner reality, not of a social reality, that has its value, you see. And I believe, therefore, that the theater of the future is one in which the actor should be sufficiently trained so that he can do anything that is demanded of him from our point of view, or from the additional, call it Grotowski or whatever point of view, which only means, from my point of view, adding certain technical skills and so on and so forth.
And it's a funny thing, because actors can't really help other actors, and I find that quite frustrating, because I wish I could, because I'm sure there are so many actors out there who would give their right arm just to be in one scene of a film with no line. You have to keep at it, you do. And if it is the thing that you really believe you want to do with your life, you will get there. You just have to keep going and keep going and keep going, and keep yourself busy. Don't wait for the phone to ring. Fill your life in other areas, because the more you enrich your life, the more enriched you'll be as an actor and as a person, and you'll be able to bring much more to each role that you hopefully will get the chance to play. It is difficult. It is definitely a hard job to do, and you do have to keep working at it. You do have to keep practicing things. You have to allow yourself to make mistakes, make them, rehearse in your bedroom. Try not to look in the mirror too much, because then you rehearse a scene in front of a mirror, and you like the way you've said something or done something, and all you will do is keep picturing yourself doing it the way you liked, rather than being completely present in the moment. No looking in mirrors, that's not good. I've learned a lot about preparation over the years, and actually it's so important to let the preparation go, because you can get stuck in this little sort of tunnel all of your own, beetling away at home and preparing who you think the character is. But the reality is you have to leave so many sort of blank spaces for other people to fill, by way of the director and the other actors, and the things that they think, and also what they are bringing to the project through the roles that they're playing, or what the director has to say. If I am playing a role in a film that is an adaptation of a book, I would always read the book, unless I had been specifically asked not to by the director. But often for me, I find that incredibly useful, and I will always find myself referring back to the book, almost obsessively actually. It sort of becomes my armour, my friend. I just would scour the book for pieces of information that surely the writer hadn't found, or surely the director hadn't seen, and I always really enjoy that. Half the time I find myself reminding myself of the importance of keeping an open mind, and being really scared by the prospect of playing certain types of roles, and surprised by my desire to face those challenges. There are challenges in every single day. The biggest one, to be honest with you, I think is being able to stay focused, because you can rehearse and you can plan everything, and you can think you have a framework that you want to stick with, or a few ideas that you want to remember to keep in your back pocket. And sometimes the craziness of an on-set environment can be so intense that you can find yourself forgetting all of those things that you planned. So actually really, really staying focused, and knowing that it's okay to kind of take yourself off into a quiet corner and just remember what it was that you had set out to do. And also just being very accepting of everyone, really, because actors can be quite weird, and they all have their sort of tics and ways, and it's such a privilege to see how odd everyone is, but at the same time it can really affect your day and how you're playing a role if you allow yourself to be caught up in someone else's stuff or someone else's process. And so just being accepting and sort of enjoying them for everything that they are. One thing that's always helped me is really never judging other people. There's always going to be something that they'll land on in the end, and often we all just have to go through a bunch of silly stuff first in order to get to that place, and that doesn't happen unless you just let it. Just because I've had a lot of experience, it certainly doesn't mean that there are certain things that I'm really getting right or nailing. I mean, I would almost hope the opposite, because I want to always be finding new ways of being able to collaborate and being able to be included and involved and excited and passionate. The experience of making a film can often be really very, very hard, and it can, can leave one sort of feeling, okay, I'm okay with the fact that that's over now. And then lo and behold, the thing will come out and it'll be incredibly fantastic, even more than you could possibly have expected. So throughout my life, that has always been the case. Every filming experience is very, very different to the finished product, possibly with the exception of Sense and Sensibility, which was just absolutely glorious in every respect to make and completely glorious to watch, and still is for me to this day.
The break between father and son is the biggest break that can be made in society. It never was made before this generation. People did not cut the father off. It was from father to son, from father to son, a biblical point of view. Now, in our generation, something strange has happened. The play really is based on the revelation of the past. The actors know about the past. This is what feeds them, the words and the relationship. Now, because of Freud and because of the method of getting to the inside was discovered late, but it was discovered. And it took that much time for people to try to analyze their feelings of parenthood and childhood. And apparently, Mr. Anderson is the kind of a writer who digs very far down and is kind enough to tell us what the secret is. The secret is that as a child, he didn't love his father for whatever reason the actor knows. But he didn't love his father. And it crippled him in his ability to love. It wasn't his fault. There was something very deep down in all of us which make our characters. And if we don't know what those things are, people are surprised. Oh, that nice boy, he killed the neighbor. Because we don't know. And the discovery for the actor is that if he goes deep down and the playwright doesn't give him the material to say, I didn't love my father when I was a child. And this created this monster who is harsh and very, very sure of himself. I can take care of myself. I've never asked anything for anybody. That's sickness. That isn't strength. And so what he feels is strength is a disease of being able to think of himself as a whole man when he has this sickness of not being loved, eating at him for 50 years.
What did it mean to you that you're different?
Well, I felt like everyone was in a stage play, playing their roles, and no one was willing to break character. And I always wanted to say, are you thinking this is all weird? And no one would break character. It's like in theater, it's like breaking the fourth wall. So I always felt like that. And yeah, that's what it felt like. I always knew. I felt like the anesthesia never worked. And I always said, the emperor is not wearing any clothes. Are you seeing that? When my mother was pregnant, she saw a psychic who said, you're going to have a boy and he will be famous. So I grew up with this idea that I would be famous.
Wow.
And I don't know if I manifested it or if the psychic was true or whatever, but that's what happened. She put it in my head, and I made it happen. And there were several times when I thought, oh, this is not working. This is not going to work,
Yeah.
But I stuck with it. I have always had angels around me, and there are angels around everybody. But because you have free will, you have to say, okay, I need your help right now before they can intervene. Can I get an amen in here? So you have that available to you, but you have to ask for help. And so, there were many lean years, but it all works out. I believe that everyone's life work is to find a way to clear out the garbage, the debris in your consciousness, so that light can shine through. Everyone has it. There's only one of us here. It looks like you're standing over there and I'm over here. The truth is, there's only one of us here. And we all have the exact same source, that same power that is from the source. Kids write to me and say they're depressed. And I think if you are depressed in this world today, that is the exact right response. But it is your job to find the joy. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I like to laugh. I like to dance. I like to create that joy. Do not live your life in the darkness. You can look at the darkness. Don't stare. You can look in the darkness. You can look in the dark. Do not stare. It will suck you in.
That's great.
I mean, we are all co-creators with the Creator. So this is just another, in my career, I've cut a path for myself that didn't exist there before. It's not just drag, but I can do something that is from my heart. And this is for everybody out there listening. Follow your bliss. Learn, know thyself. Learn how to read what's going on in here. You're born naked and the rest is drag. Everybody
That's right.
Everybody is playing a role. Everyone. When you get out of the shower, you put on your drag, right? So here's the thing. Art doesn't have to explain itself. Drag is art. Here's the thing. Drag pokes fun at that stage play that I was talking about earlier, the roles that we play. It's there to remind you, do not take yourself too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. Now, there are things that you should take seriously. Take kindness seriously, take love seriously, take sweetness seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. And the people who want to go up against all that are afraid of our light, of our laughter, of our joy, of our dancing, our music. That is the antidote to all of this negativity. Our biggest tool in fighting all that is our love and our joy. So do more of that.